So way back when, 200 episodes ago, episode 37, Erin Pheil, the founder and mindset master of MindFix Group, came here and dazzled us with some of her discoveries on how the mind worked. Nothing has been the same ever since. Erin and I have since struck up a friendship. I've actually flown all the way to Colorado just to spend time with her and learn more and unhook some of my own beliefs. Lots of life has gone on since then. Erin is a successful entrepreneur who, through her own necessity, came up with a new way of looking at beliefs, a new way of freeing people up. And now she does that for everybody, and she's done it for me. So now I'm having her back because everything evolves, and there's more to have in the conversation. Erin, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me back.
You know, it's so funny because I remember our first conversation. And by the way, if you're listening, in the show notes, I'll put a link to Erin's first conversation so you can see here in depth what MindFix is and what Erin's process is and and how she unhooks beliefs. But in that conversation, you and I were talking, and I said, one of the things that keeps coming up for me is this being molested and how I've spent most of my life trying to fix what happened to me. And you just stopped me right there in my tracks and you said, you mean what you think happened to you, what you think about happened to you, not denying that something happened, right? We're not victim blaming, but what you said was, I made up a story about what happened to me and I'm trying to fix that story. And that was a game changer for me, both in my coaching and then in my life. Just every time I go into the past and go, well, this is what happened and I'm just trying to deal. And it's like, oh, wait, I have so much story around that. So I think that encapsulates a lot of what the magic that you bring. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm leaving her speechless there. So let me ask her a question so she actually says something intelligible. So do me a favor. Just recap what MindFix is and what it is that you do around beliefs so people can be caught up without having to listen to the first episode.
Absolutely. So at the MindFix Group, we specialize in working with entrepreneurs and high achievers, and we help them get rid of the biggest internal mental barriers and roadblocks that are holding them back and keeping them from being able to experience the success that they want and the happiness that they want to experience. Usually this is when people find that they've done the books, they've done the courses, they've worked with mentors, they have coaches, and they know what they need to do. They don't need more tactics or strategies or tools. There's something going on inside of them or in their head that's preventing them from taking the action or feeling the way that they want to feel, that's going to allow them to move forward with ease and momentum and flow. Let me turn off whatever sound things are going on in the background. Sorry about that. So what we do is people come to us when they feel like they're experiencing a lot of internal resistance, like they have one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake.
So when they have internal resistance, in other words, they know exactly what to do, they can see it, they can plan it, but they're just not taking the action.
Yeah, they don't know why. It's almost like part of them wants to move forward, part of them wants to take action, part of them wants to do what their coaches tell them to do, or what they read in the book. They know what they need to do, and yet they're not. There's like some type of invisible force pulling them in the opposite direction and slowing them down. And that's where people start to feel they say resistance. Like there's this resistance. There's a lack of ease. There's a lack of momentum. There's a lack of flow. Something's like grinding them to a halt, or they're trying to push through what feels like mud or, some type of invisible wall. These are all the kind of metaphors and words that we hear when people come to us, is there's something slowing them down and dragging them down. And the symptoms, like the way that people know they're holding themselves back or they're experiencing some type of internal barriers, it can look wide variety of what it looks like. But for some people, it can be procrastination, a lot of avoidance, not doing things. For others, it can be the opposite, though. They do things they know they're not supposed to do. They'll spend time on social media, or they'll spend time doing things that aren't revenue generating. Other people may deal with perfectionism. Some people may find that they're struggling to set boundaries or struggling to say no. Some people are just dealing with imposter syndrome or have a really harsh inner critic and a lot of self-doubt. So it can look like it looks different for everybody, but the theme when people come to us is, I know I can be amazing. I know I can do incredible things. If only I could figure out why I do X and keep myself back. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. So what we do is we figure out what's going on, we figure out why it's going on, and then we clear it out completely and rapidly so we can send people on their way so they can get back to work, be efficient, make more money, feel a lot happier very, very quickly.
So basically what you do is you look under the hood of what's happening to find out where that belief that they're actually living out of comes from.
That is the nuts and bolts of it. Usually when I start talking about beliefs though, I end up losing people. If I go straight to the how of why we do things, people start going beliefs and I believe what I believe is fine, right?
Mhm.
And usually it takes like a few minutes to introduce people to this concept, but we can dive right in and say like, that's kind of the magic. Like if you want to peer behind the curtains here and see what's actually going on, at the end of the day, here's the magic formula. We are humans. We act and feel according to what we believe to be true. It's as simple as that. If you believe that cats are dangerous and you walk down the street and you see a cat, you are going to think certain things, feel certain things, act a certain way. And it's all because of what you believe. And so we can reverse engineer this and take nearly any business challenge, problem, emotional issue, not any, but nearly any, the vast majority of them, reverse engineer them, figure out what you believe to be true that's causing you to be stuck. And when we can impact those beliefs, change them, eliminate them, tweak them, you can have rapid change in your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that doesn't take a lot of effort or work.
You know, I can make that real. So you and I were talking, and you invited me to come play with you out in Colorado with some of this magic that you do. And I said, you know, the thing I would want to come work on is the being more visible. My business seems to want to get bigger. My profile people seem to want more of me, but I keep sabotaging it when people follow me, when the podcast gets bigger, when I seem to sabotage, and I don't know why. So I'd love to come work on that and find out. You know, now I'm a smart guy. I've been coaching for a decade, right? I've done all the workshops. I journal, I meditate, I do all this stuff, and still, I'm like, why do I keep keeping this thing small? And so we go out there and you and I work together for a little bit, and you help me come up with this belief from childhood, right? That I need to be perfect to be to be safe. And we talked about how those safety beliefs are really, really tough. And that was really helpful to me. When you have a safety belief, that will follow you around for the rest of your life, and they're really hard to unhook. So I worked with it for a while. And of course, I journal and journal and journal. And I think about it, I spend time. And I kind of tweaked it a little bit because what I saw was, oh, I need to be accepted to be safe. And now I look at it, I look at what happened in my family dynamics. I look what happened in my neighborhood and how violently I was met in my neighborhood. And then I saw how that played out in my life, that I'm very careful who I am in the world, how I present myself in the world, so that I can be accepted. So we fast forward to this time is like, oh, so in order for me to be really famous, for the podcast to be huge, for me to even turn on the mic, I have to be accepted by all the people who are listening to us right now. And how agonizing it has always been for me to press send. When I got back after doing some work, I was talking to another friend of mine who went with me to MindFix with you, and we both were working on the visibility thing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm willing to not be liked. I'm willing for people to disagree with me. So that's the magic of unhooking that belief.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's so fascinating too, because I want to come back to one of the main messages. I really want to plant seeds in people's minds and start to get people to have the possibility that they can believe this, is that change doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't, you can go the route of mass repetition. You can go the route of meditating every morning on this and repeating affirmations and saying, it'll be safe if I'm visible. It'll be safe if I'm seen. It'll be safe if people don't like me. And trying to convince yourself of that And that is so much work to try and force yourself to change the thoughts that bubble up into your consciousness, and try to change the emotions and calm yourself down after those thoughts have arisen. Like the thoughts have shown up, and then to be like, no, I'm just going to calm myself down over and over and over when those thoughts are going to keep showing up. The only way to impact, since we don't have control over the next thought, like you cannot control what the next thought is, like whether it's, oh, it was a giraffe, or oh, it was, she was right. You can't control the next thought, but you can impact the quality and the general direction of thoughts that bubble up to the surface when you change your beliefs. So instead of trying to cope with the thoughts that are constantly bubbling up and convince yourself that it's wrong, and convince yourself something else is right, and calm yourself down because the thoughts are so threatening, it's like, why don't we actually just change the quality of the thoughts that start to arise every day within our consciousness? And we do that by changing our belief. If we change the belief, the thoughts will change automatically.
Is that video, you have a video illustration of what we're talking about on your website a while ago. Is that gone?
No. There's still a free training. There's a 1 hour training on the site. If you go there.
So if you want to understand, like if you want to sit there and be mesmerized and have your own inner world taken apart by this short, very simple, very enlightening video, it's I'll put the link in the show notes.
Cool.
So now, what have you learned now since our last conversation? Where is your research and your practice taking you?
So, um, we've learned some very big lessons, and I've developed an understanding of why we need to actually slow down a little bit before diving into whatever challenge people show up to us with. So, initially, when I started this work, people would come to us and say, "Hey, got a really serious problem, severe imposter syndrome, right? I can't go to, I'm being invited to speak on world stages. I'm being invited to these masterminds with all these brilliant people. And I go there and I freeze. I get up on stage and I freeze. And I, uh, I sit down at these dinners and I feel totally worthless. Can you help me?" So people will show up with a challenge like that, sure thing. And our initial inclination is like, let's do this. We know how to figure this out, reverse engineer it, clear this out, send you on your way. But what we would find is with a percentage of people over time, either they'd get to the end of the program, and even after seeing steady progress and fear levels dropping and all the indicators of their success, what we'd find is some people would get to the end of the programs and go, you know what? This was too easy. This can't be working. Or we'd have people.
The mind comes right back in to invalidate the results.
Some we'd see all indications, people getting up on stage, giving talks, losing the fear, say out of, scale of 1 to 10, the fear's at a 0, it's gone. And everything showing that we were experiencing success. And then at the end of the program, or within a few months of the program, people would be like, it's reverted, or I don't think it's working, or I found this example of where it didn't work. And we'd see this like pull towards going back to where people had started. And it was really frustrating because we saw all this success and it was like a rubber band was pulling people back. And so as I started to think more about this, I had a hunch, we tested it, and what we uncovered is something that I now call blocker beliefs. And it's this concept that if you arrive at any challenge, say you come into our program and you have anyone or a combination of beliefs that keep you from being able to believe that the work will work. If any part of you is like, too good to be true, these types of programs are scams, change has to be hard, change has to take a long time, change can't last,
change can't last is the
change
word I would say.
can't last, change works for other people and not for me, I'm broken, those kinds of things. You show up with any of those, even if
I actually showed up with you, and I said to you, I'm a tough one because my magician is online, because I'm a coach, because I work with police, because I do this, I'm going to stay 3 steps ahead of you and ruin it for myself. And thank God, your process was, I was able to drop that.
Yeah. So basically what we found in the past year and a half is that people can sabotage even the most brilliant of work, even the most brilliant of programs, including ours, if they show up with all these beliefs around things not working, change not working, change not lasting. And so, what we've done with our program that has made all the difference, and then it's made the difference for people in other programs and other investments, is we look at their relationship to change and
Mm,
transformation and being broken, and can they allow change to happen? And we look at, do you believe change can't last? Do you believe change has to be difficult or a struggle? Do you believe change has to take a long time? If you do, we're going to address all of these things and actually look at your relationship to change first. I know we want to get to the sexy stuff that you came to
no,
us with, but
that's
we're going to slow
that's a
down.
brilliant realization.
We're going to slow down and we're going to look at your relationship to change. We're going to break apart any resistance or expectations that some part of you is holding on to. And then we're going to move into whatever it is you want to accomplish. We're going to have, it's going to go faster, it's going to go easier, and then it's actually going to stick. And you're not going to find that you're self-sabotaging or reversing the work because there's no part of you inside that's going, this is too good to be true. This is not going to last. There's no part of you that's looking for evidence that it's not going to work. And that's made all the difference with our success rate, with the retention rate, with people having all the work actually stick. And then they go on into other programs and, they make $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 investment. And instead of going, yeah, it was just a waste of money,
Mm,
because those beliefs around change are gone, they're actually able to see more ROI in anything else that they then go invest into. So it's been a really brilliant, exciting discovery that most people, especially in the entrepreneur and high achiever world, do have some sticky beliefs around change because we're out there trying new things and we're innovating and we're trying new programs and we're investing. But along the way, when things start not to work because that program was a bust, or those people were just good marketers and they didn't actually deliver what they did, part of us starts to come back to this sense of things don't work. Things don't work for me. It's going to be another waste. And that's where we get the resistance to sales, and it gets, we're going to go move forward with an investment, and we end up sabotaging ourselves.
mm. Yeah, how many the self-help industry is billions and billions of dollars for people trying to get themselves fixed, or at least lastingly fixed. And if they don't handle that underlying belief, just like with only tens, with me with time management, I'm like, people go to time management, they try and fix all the things, they try and do the systems and everything. I'm like, the problem, all of those systems work. The problem is not the system. The problem is that you lie to yourself every day about what you want to do, what you're willing to do, what you're going to do. Just because you color coded it doesn't mean you're going to go do it. So let's get the belief that you're actually going to go do these things out of your head before you go spend the money. So it's exactly the same thing.
Mhm. Absolutely. It's been a really big breakthrough, and has made all the difference when you get rid of resistance around change and people can relax into the possibility that this could actually work for them. And then they stop looking for evidence that it's not. You see the most incredible, phenomenal results, and they stick and don't revert.
No, I've seen it firsthand with me. I've seen it with some friends. I know your track record is ridiculously good. That's one of the reasons why you're on the show and why I've kept in touch with you, is because I know what you can do. So, question. So I'm listening to you right now, and it sounds so incredible. And I'm going to be calling MindFix. I'm going to mark show notes immediately to find out how to get in touch with you. But what can I do now? How do I just deal with my day to day? What have you learned that people just driving in the car right now can just help themselves with?
So one of the things that I like to share with people is kind of an introductory um, way of rapidly increasing self-awareness and having a little bit of awe in their lives, is helping people understand that what they're experiencing as they go throughout their day, their thoughts, the problematic emotions, the frustrating behaviors or lack of behaviors that they're experiencing, coming back to this concept of those aren't random. It's not because of your personality type, and it's not because of something that that randomly occurred, it all comes back and it makes sense. And you can start to figure out why you're feeling the way you're feeling, why you're having the thoughts that you're having, and why you're acting the way you are, if you can ask yourself one very powerful question. And the question that I invite people to ask themselves is, when they are clear about some pattern in their life that is not serving them, you know, perfectionism, procrastination, difficulty setting boundaries, declining podcasts and interviews, or being seen, not being on social media, whatever it is, once you have your pattern of this is what I don't like, this is what I want to change in my life, ask yourself the simple question: what would I have to believe to be true in order to keep experiencing this over and over again? That I ask myself that question 50 times a week.
It's brilliant. So repeat that question.
Yep. What would I have to believe to be true in order to keep experiencing this over and over again? And to be very clear, this is not something you ask yourself if you have like a one-time occurrence or one bad thing happens to you. This is with patterns that keep showing up in our lives. When we have patterns of behavior or patterns of emotions or patterns of thought, there's usually some beliefs driving those underneath the surface, because we don't act, think, or feel randomly. So
I want to slow you down on that one. We
yeah.
don't act, think, or feel randomly is such a profound statement, and you just rattle it off your tongue. It's one of the paradoxes of being a human. We talk about free will, and we do have free will, but not as much as we think. In fact, way less than we think, because so much of this is this automatic.
Mm-hmm. And depending on which scientist you talk to, anywhere from 90 to 97% of the decisions we make and the actions that we take and the thoughts that we have and the feelings that we experience as we go throughout our day are caused from our subconscious mind. We walk around all day thinking that we are in complete control of everything, and we should be able to control our thoughts and our feelings and our decisions, and everything is 100% free will, because our conscious mind is aware of it. And it's just absolutely not true at all. The vast majority of our decisions come from our subconscious mind or outside of our awareness. And I just reread last night one of the books I'm going through again, one of the famous studies where they had people choose, between two options, and they were tracking on this, on the screen. And they were showing that we actually have a decision made in our mind before it shows up into our conscious awareness. And I need to actually reread that study, so when I speak about it, I can speak about it clearly and sound like I know what I'm talking about. But it just re-hit me how much I'm going to choose this moment actually comes after we already have made the decision.
No question.
But our subconscious has already decided, and we're not even aware of it. But then our prefrontal cortex is like, you know what, I'm going to make this decision. And it's like, sure, prefrontal cortex, of course you made that decision. It was already made, right?
If you ever watch, in the entertainment world, the mentalist kind of people, the people who somehow turn over a card and they can't believe the whole audience was thinking about that card. And what they tell you is, you have no idea how impressionable you are. I put that into your subconscious 5 minutes ago. You were thinking Queen of Hearts, all of you, all 500 people in the audience were thinking Queen of Hearts, you didn't even know it. And then when you said pick the card, that, so it's kind of frightening, how much
you think it was pure free will and you did it just because you chose it. And so much of our life is like that, and it's a little frightening, but at the same time it actually gives us power when we understand how we work.
Yeah, no, I now laugh hysterical at myself on a daily basis because of all this. So where can people find you so that they can find out more?
Sure. Easiest way to find out more about us and our work is to go to mindfixgroup.com. I invite people definitely to take some time to look at the results page there. We have videos at the top, and then written notes from all of our clients below, and you can spend a lot of time and really get an understanding of the type of work we do and the type of results that people see when they work with us. We also have a free training there. And I'm also fairly active on Facebook. If people want to follow me, I'm Erin Pheil, and I'm sure you can put a link in the show
Yeah,
notes.
you put so much good, valuable content on LinkedIn and Facebook, and on social media. You really are very generous with what you give out.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm one of your testimonials also. I'm a huge fan. So thank you for everything that you do for me and for people that I know.
Cool. Thank you so much.
To everybody else, really thank you for spending your precious time and attention. As I say every time I sign off this show, I'm in awe of the thousands of people who spend time listening to these kinds of conversations. They're not the most simplest, they're not the everyday conversations that everybody's having, but they're the conversations that will unlock all the potential that you could possibly have. I love you. Have a great rest of the day.